Now, I just had a discussion with one of my colleagues before the show, and I asked him actually, have you ever bought an NFT? And he answered me, I'm interested. It looks fun, and yeah, I understand the basics, but I have no clue where I should buy it. I have no clue how to actually hold it. I have no clue how to properly send it to someone else. And so there is this technical understanding missing. And as you just mentioned, where education will help, of course, and also better UI, UX, and in general applications that hide away the complexity that are introduced with blockchain applications. Because we do this mistake over and over again, especially as developers, that we think, okay, we need to overwhelm the user basically with all kinds of information because, yeah, they can check for themselves. Of course, you can if you know what these numbers mean. I mean, you can go to Etherscan, you can look, okay, there is this ERC-721 contract, which is basically the standard for most NFTs. And then you can check, for example, numbers like I just did today, like there are 11,000 smart contracts that are using ERC-721 roughly. And over these 11,000 smart contracts, there are daily roughly 2,500 transactions. There are more than 1 million actually NFTs that were minted over the last few years. And there are hundreds of thousands of unique addresses that are owning an NFT. This sounds like very impressive numbers, but still, if you ask around, like there are just a handful of people that really do this, first of all, and even less people that understand all of this. So if we want to get very practical, is there already something, a unique network where you could tell and point people to say, hey, go to this web page and there you have your wallet, you can log in and buy something? Or is it something that you are currently working on?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Albert. Actually, yes, it's true that the market is NFT owners are just a small percentage of people and even overall art market, which is exciting actually because there's a lot of space to grow. And with unique network, so the idea is that you don't need to use native tokens. So the idea is to sponsor artist transactions, to grow our community, to empower the artists and give you the opportunity to use the platform to mint your NFTs and not need to buy any tokens at all. So we have a white label solution for the gallery. You can set up your gallery. You still need to, we're still working on that bit, that you need to connect your wallet, just so, you know, it's spam prevention, it's security kind of thing, but we're working on also changing that a little bit and making it easier for you to not need Polkadot GS wallet extension. But essentially, you just connect your wallet to a platform and then you face just a normal user interface with few buttons where you can upload your picture, mint your NFT and store your NFT in a gallery. So you don't need any tokens at all.
I think this is really a killer feature. Like many people don't understand this because usually when there is a new blockchain, when there is a new Parachain in this case, people usually tend to talk about the Parachain, about the blockchain in the first place. But people don't care about the underlying technology. Yes, like nerds like me, developers like me, they're like excited about this. But normal users, they want to use the blockchain. And one friction point was and still is like the high gas fees and in general that you need something like fees that you pay. Like you're not used to this in the Web2 world. So if you're suddenly introduced to something like that, you're first, why should I do this? And then you need to do a lot of research to actually understand why you should do it. So actually sponsoring the creation of NFTs and also giving the users the opportunity, at least for the very first transactions, to enjoy a strategy like freemium is, in my opinion, a very good way to onboard people. And once you have them onboarded, then it's much easier to keep them in the loop, in the ecosystem, because then they are also ready and maybe understand also better why they should spend any fees, because they already had interacted with this blockchain. So they see the advantages by using the blockchain and not by someone telling them about the advantages. And but now we had a very practical introduction to this, but I would still like to step a little back and get a first high-level overview of what Unique is at all. How does it relate to Polkadot, and why do we need a new NFT blockchain or Parachain? So what's the reasoning behind all of this?
Yeah, so Unique Network is essentially an NFT parachain, first on Kusama and then on Polkadot. Why NFT? Because really NFT, the founders believe that NFT is the disruptive technology, it's the type of token that will empower artists, creators, and will enable many more transactions and many more ways in which you can work with tokens. Because what is an NFT? An NFT is a unique token, but it's also a tool for ownership. And when you own something, it is very powerful. So for the first time in history, artists can really own their painting, their music, their sculpture, whatever they decide to do on the blockchain. And also NFTs really gave power and impulse to the digital art world, because just think about it. Before, you create a drawing, you use, I don't know what, Photoshop, you draw it by hand, you save it as a JPEG, PNG, whatever other file that's used for images, and then you send it, or you expose it in a digital gallery in a 2.0, Web 2.0. So how can you prove that it's yours? How can you actually monetize it and prevent copying and prevent people just clicking, and save to my computer and then use it whichever way they want? So NFT, for the first time, is really giving you that power of deciding what do you want to do with your painting, how many times you want to sell it, if you want to sell a fraction of it, if you want to make it refundable, if you want to rent it out. So Unique Network gives all these powerful functionalities and tools for an artist to decide what he wants to do with his artwork, and for collectors as well. If you want to keep it, if you want to rent it, if you want to resell it, for how much you want to resell it, and then you can obviously trace it and see, when it was bought, how many times it was bought, by who, what was the price, because there are many things that are happening in the art market, and probably artists can, say something in the comments about the struggles of the art world. And for instance, if you need to, I know that if you want to exhibit your painting in a gallery, you have to go through a very complex process of verifications and transportation and proving that this painting is really yours, you didn't steal it, and it's just very, very time consuming and paper consuming. And now imagine that you just rent your NFT to a gallery and they expose it on a screen, so you don't actually have to do anything but to grant a right of rental in your smart contract, in your token logic, so you can program it from the very beginning. So there are many ways that you can work with an NFT through smart contracts or through the token logics. Which is absolutely exciting, because actually it's up to the artist now to decide what they want to do and how they want to present their art, because it belongs to them. It's your token, and everybody knows that it's your token. So you are free to do what you want to do with it. And NFTs are really pretty much in their infancy right now, because what we're seeing is, just a very plain way that Ethereum enables, where you definitely literally take a JPEG, mint it, and convert it into an NFT, like it happens with photography. But what Unique Network wants to see is real interactions, and these items, these NFTs, happen in life. So say that you create like this NFT painting, and then you actually rent it out to a museum, or you create a fashion item and you use it in a game, or like Consensus just recently opened their metaverse headquarters, and they had a company meeting there, and you could choose your avatar as an employee, you can dress it up the way you want, You can put music there and have a virtual bar, so like after work hangouts. So it is really NFT space. It is really about building the metaverse and building the more philosophical sort of level, and the way we're all, the society is progressing in our innovation of digital space. So it's a combination really of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and blockchain. Because imagine you put your Google glasses and you can walk into the metaverse and enter the game, and then you have your items. Because Vitalik Buterin, when he first thought about these NFTs and the logic, because he lost an item in a video game. So the whole point of owning an asset is that you can actually prove it, you can recover it, and nothing happens to it. You own it and you have it, and it's yours, and it's virtual. And since we already spoke about this today, that a lot of things are happening in the virtual reality. We live in the economy of creators, of bloggers. Like profession like blogger did not exist 10 years ago, right? So I would imagine that now we will have even a completely new economy of people living and making a living in the metaverse. So having a career in the metaverse, having their virtual workspace or virtual gallery as an artist, or your own music stage, or you can run a disco and a DJ set in the metaverse. So it's just like the whole parallel reality. And how that will work is really up to the people and how they will use it. And this is why it is so important from the developer's perspective to make it accessible, because you really want as many creators as possible to be able to enter the space and test it and invent something there. Because if you just keep it, I know, because I also talk to a lot of developers who like to invent this complex terminology, and they're very proud, of being able to create this, which is great. But we should not create a barrier and create this as keep it as an elitist sort of space where you can enter only if you know how to code, or only if you know how to use super complex interface. So it's really, we need to make friends here, with creators, with normal users like myself, because my first experience with blockchain was just like, oh my God. I remember it was very painful when I first used Coinbase and my money just got stuck somewhere in the air for 3 days. I was panicking, calling my bank, like, what happened? Because since you're dealing with crypto and not fiat currencies, you have this perception that maybe it's not a real bank, that which is Coinbase has a banking license. So it is actually just like a bank. You can recall your funds and things.